Here's a question for you, Matt, in regards to something that you've addressed many times in regards to, what's the offensive bar from a standpoint of being prolific, 35 points per game, and what did this defense have to do just enough to make this kind of the season the Lincoln Riley's looking for? So 35 for the offense, 30 for the defense.
Yeah, Oscar, great pair of questions. It's something we've talked about the last few months here at the Voice of College Football, and I think if USC hits those benchmarks, average 36 scored and allow 29, that's going to be a very successful season, most likely. And it could be that USC is going to score, 75 points against Rice in week 1, and that might skew the statistics. But on balance, if USC generally hits the benchmark of averaging mid to upper 30s in points and allowing very high 20s in points, it's probably going to work out well. They might lose a couple 1-point games, which would be a real gut punch, but probably it's going to be a very good season for USC. And I think as I contemplate what will actually happen, I think the defense might check in allowing 31 or 32, but I think that the offense can score about 38 and average about 38. So even then, you have about a +7 differential on a per game basis. And I think if USC gets there, it's probably going to be good. But I think if the season-long differentials are closer to a field goal than a touchdown, maybe think 35-32, that's probably where another loss gets into the equation. And what could be a 10-2 year becomes a 9-3 year. So that's my overall sense. So I worry about the defense because there just aren't enough reinforcements right now along the defensive line. They just need so many more bodies. And you also have to consider the reality that Corey Foreman is behind schedule in his evolution. So, he might become a great player midway through the season, but I don't think he's going to be a great player in week 1. There's going to be an acclimation period. That's also why I keep going back to that Oregon State game. Also, the placement of that game on the calendar in week 4, you might not see USC players at the stage in their evolutionary arcs where they're fully ready, fully prepared for what is a very good Oregon State offensive line. So that game, to me, again, it stands out as the challenge that if USC can surmount that, the rest of the season lines up well. Players are going to develop. They're going to get better in October and November. So, Oscar, great question. And I think that the Oregon State game might, be the game that really shapes those statistics more than any other this season.